Hello guys and welcome back on the channel again. So I'd like to show you today a few secrets, just a few minor ones about the Chinese dragon. You know that I'm in process of making one of my most ambitious and certainly uh, absolutely the best of all those courses that I've made so far. It's going to be about the dragon opening for black. And one of the topics is certainly going to be Chinese dragon. On your question, when am I going to release it? It's going to be on Chessable and chess.com. It's going to be in a couple of months. But in the meantime, while I'm making all these analyses, I'm just making a big number of Blitz games almost on daily basis. And since in the last couple of days, I made few really beautiful games online, I just decided to share those things with you. So take the following video more like an advertisement how to play better Chinese dragon with the black pieces, to once again remind you of the fact that the dragon is not refuted. Sorry, but it's not refuted. And I just want to attract you and to attach you a little bit better for this opening and to say, yeah, we gotta get the course of this guy. Dragon is really a dangerous opening, and we want to play like the big Maya. So let's go. I want to show you 4 of my games that I played lately. And as you know, e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes, knight f6, and g6. What's this? Nothing else but the main and the most typical order of moves for the dragon. And after g6, bishop e3, just like I made so many videos about the dragon. More than 75% of the games, white players go with the bishop e3. You go bishop g7, f3, castles, queen d2, knight c6. And here we are on a very important crossroad. Should white go with bishop c4, which is Yugoslav line against the dragon? Should white go with a long castle, which is called Rouser line against the dragon? Or g4, which became more and more popular lately for white as well. I'm not going to give you and explain you any of these lines. You even have the course move by move about the dragon. And if you want to really find out about all these lines, you should actually get the course by the end of this year. But let me just show you these games, and let me just once again attract you to the dragon opening and remind you, yes, this opening should really be for black players and for really those ones who enjoy in games with lots of sacrifices and real attractiveness. My opponent here went for the bishop c4, which is nothing else but introduction into a Yugoslav variation, sharpest one against the dragon. Gary Kasparov said, if white is looking for refutation in the dragon, he should be looking in Yugoslav, and he should definitely look in some g4 variations where they sack a pawn there. After bishop d7, long castle. Here, I'd like to remind you of the fact that if you like this video so much and all of a sudden you become a big fan of Chinese dragon, most of your opponents as the time goes by could avoid Chinese dragon by playing h4. And then you're going to find out in the course that I'm about to make what are you supposed to do, but just in general to let you know, anytime they play h4 and avoid Chinese dragon, you got to go with h5. And now those are some different kinds of positions. After long castles, Chinese dragon goes with rook b8. For almost 5 decades, almost exclusively, all these black players went for the rook c8. And then Chinese dragon approach with a rook b8 became so popular. The idea behind this one is that they want to go with b5, launching an action on the queen side with b5, attacking that bishop on c4, and almost, by force, and by all means go with b5, attacking that bishop and kind of provoking white, whether he wants to take by knight on c3, knight on d4, bishop on b5. Because of that, when you play rook b8 and threaten that move b5, they gotta react accordingly and they just have to go with nothing else but bishop to b3. And no, I'm not intending to present you like lots of theoretical lines and ideas, but I just want to show you what happens in games of mine against all these IMs and GMs online. Believe it or not, I'm about to show you 4 games of mine. So this time, I'm not usually showing you my games, but this is going to be my Blitz games that I've played lately on 2 chess sites. So after like knight a5, that's the main move, and the point of knight a5 is to be able to go with b5 and jump with the knight on c4. Now you would say, so Maya, what's the difference if we play knight e5? Well, in case of some knight e5, they can kick your knight away with some f4, they can play some other type of moves, they don't have to wait you to play b5, they can jump with their knight, and so many other things. And I don't want to bother you with that. Simply, when we go with knight a5, we're also awaiting some knight c6 ideas by white in some variations, of course. And just like I told you, you're just about to go with b5 and knight c4. Almost all these guys go with h4. By the way, if they first play king b1 and I go b5 and they go h4, it is just going to transpose in pretty much the same position. Not pretty much, actually absolutely the same position. So when they went for h4, and for some reason, all these guys, I'm once again, reminder, I'm showing you 4 of my Blitz games lately. We go with b5. Obviously, they're familiar with my plan, that I want to go with knight c4, and when I recapture by pawn, I just want to place my queen on b6 afterwards. And because of that, all my opponents in this position react with king to b1. King b1 is a very normal defensive move where white just shows, okay, I'm familiar with what are you about to do, and I just want to move my king to a1 and defend the potentially weak square in b2 by the rook on d1. How? So when we play knight c4, they will all take, and now we got an open file, and we really want to play queen b6 and go with the attack against the b2 pawn. And here, all these guys went with king a1, and I played queen a5. You know, we're still in the theory, 15 moves of the theory here, queen a5. I'm just willing to go with rook b4, rook b6, and to double up my rooks along the b file. They all go rook b1, and kind of with the knight on c3, rook on b1, and king on a1. They're about to think, okay, we've just cemented our game. Black has nothing. Well, I wouldn't say so. And if you ask me, the real adventure actually that begins now. So what's the point about this one? They just go with the rook b1. Yeah, they do defend the square b2. And at the same time, they just have to say, okay, rook on b1 defends the pawn on b2. And not just that. Rook on b1, all together with the knight on c3, they defend the pawn on a2, and how is black going to carry on with attack in these positions? And if you are a master of a dragon line, or if you simply watch this video, or if you simply decide to once again get back into a good modern shape of the dragon and say, okay, I want to get the course of this guy, then you're going to be pretty much familiar with the ways to carry on with the attack. I always go with a rook b4. I'm not going to tell you anything about the rook b4 idea right now because I want to surprise you with some nice tactical ideas afterwards. So they all go g4, rook f b8, h5, and my favorite move in this position is something that the engine doesn't like so much. Rook 8 to b6. Of course, during this making, like while I was making this Chessable and chess.com, the Dragon course, of course that I came up with objectively the best even according to the engine lines. And I don't want to simply give you a chance to say, hey, Maya, this is plus 1.5 for white. Don't give us this line. This is bad. Engine says this and that. No. Here, I'm just going to present you games of mine and systems that I use for Blitz. So this is not for exclusively, but of course in in the course itself, you're going to find always alternatives for Blitz, Bullet, and Rapid games, actually for active time controls, and for tournament chess. Here, I'm playing this rook a to b6, which is a little bit underestimated, and usually players who analyze this with white and with engines, they underestimate this move because according to the engines, this is 1 point plus 1, 1.5 for white. So what's the point? After h takes, we always take with f pawn. Why not with h pawn? Because when they play bishop h6, they just want to enter with the queen onto h6. They want to mate us. We go like this, and they have this amazing move, bishop f8. Simply, we can't take because they will give us check, and if this is mate, or if we go knight g8, this one is check, and this is mate. And another thing is, if you just, I don't know, do something, they will just, for example, e5, they will just go rook takes h8, queen h6, and queen g7 is checkmate. Those are typical ways for white to mate you. So when you play the dragon, you're not only supposed to be a great attacker, but you also have to be pretty much familiar with the best and most important defensive ideas for black. So here, we got a take by f pawn, and I insist on this idea very much. It's very important, and I've just showed you how you're supposed to, get punished if you take by h pawn. And here, I'm about to show you the first game. For example, lots of guys wonder, so what am I trying to do in this type of position? So let's just go with a3. Here I have a specialty of mine, and when you put all these moves into the chess.com, like analysis board, you're gonna get 3 brilliances in a row for black. So you first go bishop e6. I know it looks crazy, and you might say, what the hell is this? Hey, this guy just gave up the bishop. He just put that bishop there. What's this? Well, here's the point. One of my opponents couldn't realize what was I actually trying to do. Of course, that I analyzed this. And after knight takes e6, da-da-da-da, boom, rook takes b2. And it's a very lovely thing because all of a sudden you threaten queen takes a3 with checkmate in one move. They gotta take rook takes b2, and they usually all think, what's the point? But the point is, da-da-da-da, knight e4. You're opening up the bishop, going after the knight, rook, and the king, and your queen on a5, all together with the bishop g7 and rook on b6. Of course, at the moment we're just talking about all together with the knight on e4, they're just giving a lethal mating attack. So if they take by knight e4, queen a3 is mate on b2. If they take, for example, bishop e6, queen a3, and when they play like this, bishop c3 with mate or serious material damages. And finally, for rook b6, you play queen a3, followed by knight e2 or bishop c3 or knight c3 with mate or, once again, serious material consequences. My opponent was an IM, and that's how I won. I just have to tell you that he wasn't supposed to take, but I'm not going to now tell you why did I play bishop e6, what were my ideas now, and everything else. All these type of analysis and stuff you're going to be able to find in my chess.com and Chessable course that is going to be presented this year. After like f takes g6, I just showed you first game of mine. And I got cut into desperation. Also, you won't be able to win so many games against weaker guys here. Usually, let's assume that you just get this position. Only FMs, IMs, and GMs will play like this with white pieces because they know that this is supposed to be good for white, and they will all go into this. Another game I played against GM, the guy went for bishop h6. And here I have a very surprising line, rook a6. First of all, I want to show you a game against an FM. My FM opponent, but this was a fast time control, 2+1, played here bishop h6. And he threatened to move my bishop and to come up with some sort of attack. When he played bishop h6, I played this rook a6. He absolutely didn't fill my idea. And for the second time in this lesson, after you just realized that bishop sack on e6 followed by rook b2 and knight e4, you're about to see another beautiful tactical trick in the Chinese dragon. My FM opponent took on g7. He was probably okay. I'm gonna play afterwards king g7, queen h6, followed by some e5 or knight e5 or g5 at some point, and to mate him. If I need something, I just need a3. Well, everything would be fine, my friend, unless it's my turn. But unfortunately for you, it's my turn. It's black to move. Da-da-da-da. Queen takes a2. This beautiful queen sack works in the Chinese dragon. And that's why they're all the time, like walking on a very thin ice, and you just all the time have to, simply flirt with all these nice and the very entertaining tactical ideas. So after knight takes a2, boom! Rook takes a2. I'm sacrificing another rook after I sacrificed queen, and da-da-da-da, rook a4, checkmate. A beautiful win, very nice one, and your opponents will most likely be familiar with this one because these are some very basic ideas. Another game actually happened to me just 2 days ago. My opponent played a3. My opponent was a GM. He played a3, and he played absolutely the best move. I took on h6. I gotta tell you that is going to sound like very surprising that I'm already winning here. Funnily enough, all these guys think that after queen h6, somehow they're just moving the queen away from the queen side, around the king, and they do have a good feeling that it's not supposed to be good for them, and it's not. We're winning. So after queen h6, this is not a game that I played against this guy, but I played it a few weeks ago. I played rook takes b2, another fantastic rook sack. You can't take by king because it's checkmate, and you gotta take by rook. When you take by rook, I take on c3. Now I'm threatening queen a3, followed by queen a1, checkmate. And if you just defend that, for example, by king b1, I'm going to win this, and I have 2 pieces, and I'm completely winning. Also, as an experienced dragon player, just have to tell you that having the knight around the king is enough to have and to say, okay, I am, solid enough, and I can defend myself, and he doesn't have any threats. Because any g5, first of all, it's your turn, so you have one more move, but I just have to tell you that it's enough to know that after g5, you have knight h5 to defend yourself. That's how I won a game a few weeks ago. And finally, what attracted me the most was a nice game against pretty strong GM, who went for rook h6, where I applied the following idea. Who would say that black even has something in this position? Sounds a little bit crazy, contradictory to the main dragon points, because we all know how much we're supposed to like the dragon bishop, and here we do not have it anymore. So what are we supposed to do? Rook a4, boom. What's the point about this one? You can't take on a4, simply we're gonna take the queen on d2. And your feeling that you need your queen around the queen side and around the king in general was okay. And they all think they're defending their position with this pretty good enough. No, you're not defending it. You play rook takes a3, and after b takes a3, you just take here on c3. Funnily enough, if rook b2, queen a3 is mate, if queen b2, rook a3 is mate, and when my opponent went for king a2, I just won queen d4, played afterwards c3, followed by bishop e6, and managed to win my game very easily. Well, hope that you enjoyed this short, brief, but a very, I would say, top-notch lecture about the Chinese dragon and the latest happenings and analysis there. Much more you're going to be able to find in the dragon course that I'm making all these months just for you. And I just need a couple more months to finish it, and you're going to enjoy it so much. See you in the dragon course at the end of this year. All the best, guys.